Hey there everyone, Mazarok here, and today is the 9.2 Brewmaster guide for you. So, this video is going to presume that you know the base kit and you've done some tanking with Brewmaster before. If you do not, or you haven't, and you're picking this up for the first time, I have a beginner's guide to Brewmaster that I will link down below in the description box, so that way you can understand a lot of the base kit. In that video, I literally break down the talents, the synergies, and all of that you will experience while leveling up. This is for when you hit level 50, you can choose a covenant, and you start gaining renown, and then you get into 60 mythic plus, and you want to start timing 15s. This is what this guide is going to help you to do. So, right off the bat, please subscribe. It goes such a long way. We've seen a big boost in the community of people subscribing, joining the community Discord down below. It's very nice to have all of the love and support, and I gotta thank everybody so far. I could not do this without you. There is a Twitch stream down below in the description as well. If you'd like to watch people stream, ask me questions live, you can reach me there or in the Discord down below as well. My guild Bloodstorm is currently looking for healers and DPS. We're trying to get to start heroic. We're pretty much there at normal already. We've been mainly full clearing it aside from jailer just due to time constraints because we only raid for 3 hours a week. I am looking at adding a second raid night to that as the team grows, depending on where it is, so that way we can start getting into heroic and getting into AOTC runs. So if that's something that interests you, there is a guild link down below, or you can join the Bloodstorm Discord down below as well. It's my Mazarok/guild Discord. It's the same link. All right, let's get into 9.2 Brewmaster. So Brewmaster has very much risen as one of the stronger tanks in the game right now, and that is because of their tier set. So unfortunately, as you see here, I don't have any tier set here. I haven't been raiding really much at all with Brewmaster. Trying to upkeep 5 tanks is incredibly difficult, but I have talked with enough Brewmasters and seen enough Brewmasters tank, aka my co-tank, and what it does and how powerful it is. So let's talk about the tier set. Targets ignited by your Breath of Fire deal an additional 4% less damage to you. Very nice, rather lame, but, you know, it's a positive effect for you. What's really nice is the 4-piece, and this is where Brewmaster starts to shine. Keg Smash deals an additional 50% damage, which is already one of your main damage-dealing abilities. Sorry about that. Is one of your main damage-dealing abilities, and heals you for 66% of the damage dealt, and grants 66% of the damage dealt as maximum health for 10 seconds. In Raid, the co-tank that I run with has said that he's reached health of 350, 400k. Just by stacking this during heavy lust phases and things like that, where he can just keg smash all of the time. This is one of your main damaging abilities, but this also makes the playstyle make you feel a little bit more like a Blood Death Knight, where you take damage and you heal it up with an ability. But you also gain a bunch of health. It's just really, really nice. This 4-piece is absolutely cracked out for Brewmaster, and you should absolutely be trying to get the 4-piece as fast as possible. The 2-piece, kind of meh. The 4-piece, pretty insane. So, we'll cover that, which means you're going to want to be focusing around Keg Smash. Now, the legendary of choice for Brewmaster has been Stormstout's Last Keg, which Keg Smash deals an additional 30% damage and has 1 additional charge. It was already the best legendary in 9.0 and 9.1. It is by far the only legendary that you should be equipping as your choice legendary. Of course, you're going to be using Unity for all your needs, especially once you get that 4-piece. There is an argument to be made for Charred Passions, which is a single target Breath of Fire legendary, but really that is very niche scenarios. If you're just going to make one legendary, make the Keg Smash one. You have an additional charge. It works insanely well with the 4-piece. Just do that. So then we get over to Unity. Unity, I just made it on my ring. I like it there. It's happy. You make it where you see fit. Just try to not make it on a tier piece, which would be helm, shoulder, chest, gloves, or pants. Now, unfortunately, for Stormstout's Last Keg, you're already going to have to make it on a tier slot. don't have much of a choice there. It's the only two that it can be made. Brewmaster got screwed that way. So make Unity elsewhere. I made it on a ring because I wanted to focus a little bit heavier on big secondary stats. So that is your legendaries of choice there. Now, covenants. You have 2 options for covenants. Now, I should say you have 4. 2 of them just aren't as good, unfortunately. Venthyr kind of really falls behind a little bit, but still usable. Night Fae does good damage as long as you can keep them in the Fae line stop, and is really not a bad Covenant choice at all. You can absolutely make it work. Soul Shape is nice, although mobility is really not an issue that Brewmaster needs to work with. You have Transcendence, you got Roll, yeah, Tiger's Lust. You are a very mobile class to begin with, so adding another cooldown that adds mobility really isn't super strong for Brew. But, I mean, it's a nice ability. Fae line Stomp does a lot of damage. If you want to play Night Fae Monk, you can absolutely do so. But the 2 better of the Covenants that come out ahead, in my opinion, and, you know, sim-wise, is Kyrian and Necrolord. So the Kyrian ability is the Weapons of Order, which is a 2-minute cooldown, which does get dropped by Mechanico. So if we're talking Kyrian, we have to talk Mechanicos, because this is a big part of the strength of Kyrian Brewmaster, which is the Effusive Anima Accelerator. You need this, you want this last one here. So what happens is it reduces the cooldown of Weapons of Order by 8 seconds per enemy affected, up to a maximum of 40 seconds. This brings Weapons of Order down to a minute 20-second cooldown, and for the next 30 seconds, your mastery is increased by 10%. Additionally, Keg Smash cooldown is instantly reset, and enemies hit by Keg Smash take 8% increased damage from you for 10 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. You get the 4-piece, you get the Keg Smash Legendary, Weapons of Order. You're starting to deal a lot of damage, and it's really, really nice to see, because Brewmaster's damage was a little kind of not great in the early parts of the expansion, but that was a lot of tank damage as a whole. But this really does amp up Brewmaster's damage in single target and AoE as well. With Necrolord, you get Bone Dust Brew. I'm sorry, I'm kind of on a mountain here in Zeroth Mortis. I had found a nice peaceful place to kind of sit here and meditate. So you put the Bone Dust Brew down, and some of your abilities with the Unity Legendary, what it does is it has a chance to place a Bone Dust Brew on the target and the surrounding area when you use abilities. It's a nice strong ability. And of course you gain Fleshcraft or File. If you were going to level 2 Covenants, I would do Kyrian and Necrolord. Both are very, very strong. One is performing a little bit better in AoE scenarios, the other one a little bit better in single target, but both are very viable in all scenarios, where if you only level up one, you can really level up your choice, and it's not going to make that big of a difference, where you can just have a lot of fun and work with there. So now we're going to get into talents. As talents on the first row, on pure single target fights, if you do not, I am not in a rested area, if in pure single target fights, if you're looking for less buttons to press, you can go with Eye of the Tiger, which Tiger Palm will put a damage debuff on your target passive. You don't have to worry about it. If you like extra buttons to press, Chi Wave is kind of my go-to. It adds healing, it bounces off target, and it does damage. It's an all-around nice button to press. Row 25 is your choice. The 2 most common ones that I see are Chi Torpedo and Tiger's Lust. Tiger's Lust can be cast on yourself as well as other people, and it removes all roots and snares and gives you a 70% movement speed increase. This is very nice in dungeons like Plaguefall, where you can just dispel the Wretched Phlegm cast with Tiger's Lust. You don't need your dispel, you can just Tiger's Lust it off, giving yourself an extra dispel, as well as the chains from the Overseers in Sanguine Depths. Very, very nice to have, although Chi Torpedo is just super fun. Let's face it, Chi Torpedo is super fun. But these are the choices for your 25 row. The 30 row, Black Ox Brew is, I've covered this in my, if you're a beginner, Black Ox Brew isn't bad. If you're kind of new, if you know what you're doing and you've been playing a while, I would be going into light brewing. And if you're going into tanking 15s, light brewing is going to be your better option all around. Row 35. Now, this is where things get complicated. I prefer Ring of Peace. Some people prefer Summon Black Ox Statue. This Summon Black Ox Statue, if you're in a group of Havoc Demon Hunter, a Fury Warrior, and a Frost DK, let's just say that we're going to use those 3. There's no misdirect in that group. The chances of you holding threat when all 3 of them pop up at once, there's a better chance of the dinosaurs actually coming back to life right now and rising up from the ground. So you're gonna want Summon Black Ox Statue for that, because you can literally taunt the statue that you put down and just immediately group taunt everything. If you're not worried about threat, Ring of Peace is one of the best get away from me's in the game. It relocates. It's just great all around CC that works on so many mobs in Mythic Plus. Not as much use in raiding, but neither does Summon Black Ox Statue. So this is kind of your Mythic Plus row. Which one do you prefer? I prefer Ring of Peace, although there is definitely cases to be made for Summon Black Ox Statue, without a doubt. Row 40. Now this one here, you've got 2 choices depending on the scenario that you're going in. Bob and Weave is kind of your set it and forget it, which is going to be good in all scenarios. It is good in all scenarios. It's just when does Dampen Harm become a little bit better. So Bob and Weave increases the duration of stagger by 3 seconds. Fantastic option. Great passive. Dampen Harm is a 2-minute cooldown that reduces all damage taken to you. You take by 20 to up to 50% for 10 seconds, with larger attacks being reduced by more. This is when you need an extra defensive. I'm thinking, I like this in Theater of Pain, where you just get chonked a lot. Sometimes if you fall behind on your stagger or your shuffle, or you just kind of misplayed a little bit, Dampen Harm can be an absolute godsend for a defensive when you do need it. So take your pick, but there are scenarios where Dampen Harm is absolutely fantastic, and it is a really good raid pick as well. So just something to think about there. Row 45 row. Now, if you watch my beginners video, I talked about rushing Jadewind, which is still a fantastic option. By no means should you just not pick rushing Jadewind because you've seen some special delivery DPS. Now, rushing Jadewind is some upfront threat, which you should be pressing the button before you go into combat, and then you upkeep it. It's just not something you want to open up combat with, because it does deal damage. It just doesn't deal a lot of upfront damage. It's just kind of constant all around you, but it does help keep threat as the pull goes on, and is a little bit safer of a play. It doesn't cost energy, and it is on a 5.5 second cooldown. If you're just looking for something to set it and forget it and not have to worry about it, rushing Jadewind is probably the better pick for you. Now, coming up in the sims and play styles is special delivery. This talent got buffed a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, so let's talk about it. Special delivery. Drinking from your brews has a 100% chance to toss a keg high into the air that lands nearby after 3 seconds, dealing damage to all enemies within 8 yards and reducing their movement speed by 50% for 15 seconds. The movement speed debuff, super nice, but what's really popping off here is the damage. So Purifying Brew, every time you drink from that. Special Delivery procs. Celestial Brew, every time you use that, it procs. And as well, Fortifying Brew, but I mean, 6-minute cooldown, it does get reduced by a lot, but this is not, you're not like, oh, I better use Fortifying Brew because of special delivery. No, the main procs are going to be Purifying Brew and Celestial. But it does deal a lot of damage. I noticed that when I switched to special delivery in Mythic Plus, my damage did go up by about 1k to 1.5k overall. Now, it also means you have less upfront damage, because rushing Jadewind is something that you pop before you pull going into it, versus special delivery, you have to have taken damage to use your brew to get the effect of special delivery. So you are much more susceptible to losing snap threat with special delivery than rushing Jadewind. Although overall, once you do have threat and you do get your special deliveries and your purifying brews rolling, special delivery will absolutely do more damage and help you keep threat later in the pull more than the beginning. And one thing I noticed using special delivery, I was a lot more energy starved because I wanted to hit Purifying Brew a lot more and a lot quicker. And so which means that you're using Tiger Palm a little bit more. You have one less global depress, which is rushing Jadewind, which doesn't cost energy. And now that you're using it with a little bit more filler to cost energy, I found myself to be a little bit energy starved at times. So that does mean that's something you have to watch out for. And it requires a little bit more of a conscientious playstyle where you do watch your energy bar versus when I was running Rushing Jadewind, I really never worried about my energy, and I almost never hit 0. Like, I almost never ran out of energy when I was playing with Rushing Jadewind. So something to watch out for, but both are really, really solid abilities and a lot of fun to play with, and this can help you kite as well. And then in the last row, you just take High Tolerance. That's it. I think Celestial Flames is good for the Charred Passions build, but I mean, if you're looking for a set it and forget it, just take High Tolerance. Your Stagger is 5% more effective at delaying damage, and you gain up to 15% haste based on your current level of Stagger. So if you're at Heavy Stagger, you have like 45% extra haste. It's really, really dumb, and this is kind of where a lot of your damage comes from. You take damage to deal more damage. That is the balance of Monk. When we're talking trinkets, you do have quite a few options. I did just put out a 9.2 tank trinkets video down below. If you're looking for a couple of solid options, Codex of the First Technique, Blood Splattered Scale, Shard of Anhild's Aegis, File is still absolutely great. I haven't had great luck with my trinket drops on Brew, but it is what it is. I did get a 262 File though. Yay! So that's kind of where it is there. You do have a lot of defensives as a Brewmaster. If you're going with Necrolord, you got Fleshcraft, of course, and you have Celestial Brew on such a short cooldown, which is 48 seconds baseline with the talent, and then, of course, you reduce it with your abilities, so you do get some nice shields there. 6 minutes, I know this seems daunting. It's really not that bad. It does get brought down a lot. Your Black Ox, Nuzao, I can never pronounce that one right, is also a really good damage dealing ability, as well as a defensive for you, which does get reduced through your conduit. So let's talk about a couple of key conduits that you're going to want. One of the key conduits that you're going to want as a Brewmaster is Walk with the Ox. Abilities that grant shuffle reduce the cooldown of your Black Ox by 0.5 seconds, and the Stomp deals an additional damage based on the potency based on the level of your conduit. Very, very strong DPS conduit that you're going to want to have to increase your DPS. And for my second potency conduit, I just run with either Covenant option. You don't have a lot of great options. Scalding Brew isn't bad. As well, it does deal more damage to targets affected by your Breath of Fire. You just don't have 100% uptime on Breath of Fire because of the way the cooldown works and things like that. But it is this is a good DPS option if you can play around it. A couple of good, endurance conduits is Expel Harm, the Harm Denial one. Increase healing, increase your self-healing. Very nice. So then you can use Keg Smash to heal as well as Expel Harm. Celestial Effervescence, sorry. Well, under the effects of Celestial Brew, your effects that heal you are increased by 40%. So this is really, really nice where you take a big hit, you purify a bunch, you get a big Celestial Brew shield. With that shield, you can hit Expel Harm, you got a couple chi points into it, boom, you gain a massive bump of healing, as well as this does apply with your Keg Smash. So you hit Celestial Brew, you Keg Smash a couple of times. The effects that heal you off your Keg Smash from that 4-piece, you gain here. Very, very nice synergy there. Something very good. And the Condensed Animosphere, this is something that actually does build up over a lot over Mythic Plus or a Raid Run. Very, very solid option. As for Finesse Conduits, they're kind of your choice. A lot of them are a little lackluster for Brewmaster. So whichever one you think you like best, that would probably be your better option. So that is the 9.2 Brewmaster Guide. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are having fun tanking in 9.2. I think it has been an absolute blast and has been some of the funnest tanking I've had on almost any class and spec. Honestly, I think Vengeance is the only one that I haven't actually tanked at all this tier, but trying to upkeep 5 tanks and gear them up in the first month or so of rating expansion that has tier in it, and it's been something else. I had a little bit of burnout going on this week, I have to admit. You can only do so much so long before you're like, all right, I need to step back and just break. But I'm coming back. I'm getting excited. Not that I was ever gone, but I'm getting excited to tank more, and I'm going to do some Brewmaster stuff a lot more. Especially once I get tier, you're going to see me play my Brew a lot more as we go on through there. So, That's it. That's all. I hope you're enjoying 9.2 as much as I am. Enjoy your day. Bye.